Oh yes. Good morning. Happy Sunday morning. I defy the emerging framework of proper text messaging etiquette. Inspire the converging forces to cast aside mere happenstance expenditures of energy. I'm better than that. Yeah, hey, what's up, guys? Good morning. Happy Sunday. Pogo kiddo. Chillin'. Here I am. I'm in Bedrock. I'm back in my old server world that I downloaded. Let me turn this down a bit. I'm back in my old server world that I downloaded. And, yeah. And what happened was Grandfather Station was broken. Like, it was broken when I made it. Because I made it as the second station I ever made. And the second big train station I ever made. And my goal was to create the single space panel to compact it. Because Grand Central Station, Memorial Station, is single space or double spaced. Yep, it's a station, skip a space, station, skip a space. So it's like huge to run down and select stuff. So my goal was to create a single space one. And then, but at that time, I guess Bedrock, the differences between Bedrock and Java weren't well known, weren't well understood. And I didn't understand anything about Redstone. So I tried to copy an old train station design by FedEx. Well, first I tried the K1 design, 2018 design, I think. And it didn't work because there's no quasi-connectivity to Redstone in Bedrock. Then I tried the FedEx design, which was an older design, but it was single panel and it used all repeaters and pistons. And that worked for the double piston part, the back part, and the selector panel, but the lights didn't work. So I couldn't fix that because the lights in the old FedEx design relied on sticky pistons leaving their block on one-tick pulses. So here's a funny thing about Minecraft. When the guy who made Minecraft was making Minecraft, there was a bug. Here, instead of me talking about it, there was a bug. Oh, I don't have any here. Yeah, here. Take a red. I'm gonna make sticky pistons. So you know what I'm talking about. Piston, sticky piston. Okay. So that's a sticky piston. And what that means, what that does is that sticky part grabs whatever is on the back. Here, make a lever. So now it's stuck, it'll come back. You see? So the sticky piston moves it, and then now it's stuck there. That block is stuck. Okay, it always works like that for sticky pistons in Bedrock. You cannot get the sticky piston to let go of this block. You can't do it. It will not let go ever. That's the way it is in Bedrock. But in Java, when that bug came in, it was like revolutionary for the Redstoners, because they could use the fact that the piston would leave its block there. They used that to make a bunch of machines, and it was really, really great for them. And so when the developer found the bug and fixed it, everyone flipped out. They're like, no, you can't do that. My machines all work with that bug. You can't do that. So the developer in Java said, okay, fine, I'll leave it. I'm sorry, I'll leave it. So for some reason, on a short pulse, the sticky piston will unstick and leave the block there and retract. And then again, if you stick it again and you pulse it again quick, it'll grab it again and pull back. It's just a bug, but they kept it in Java. and it doesn't work in Bedrock. And so since it doesn't work in Bedrock, FedEx design, the old school design to make the single panel, didn't work for the light part. The other part worked, but not for the lights. So eventually I found Freelioth. Freelioth made a great version of the train station. It's single panel to select. You can select other panels, no problem, and it will deselect that one, no problem. Or if you just want to, you know, like not select anything, you can do that too. Like, it's great. It's great. What a great design. And then the way this one works is with hoppers and droppers and a comparator reading it. And then shooting this. So what that does is there's an item here. If you press the button, this dropper shoots that item up into this hopper. This hopper, then, it's not powered, so the item goes that way. I don't know why it doesn't fall back down, but for some reason it goes that way. And then it drops into this one where it waits. And then because there's something in here, this comparator will light up. So watch. So what? Okay, so there's a piece of dirt in there. I'm gonna select this one. Bop. I'm gonna come back. That dirt is not there anymore because it got shot up here and then went along this and it dropped down into this one. And here's where the dirt is. This is the only one with dirt in it. None of these other guys have dirt in it. So because it has dirt in it, the comparator that's reading it, because the side with 2, that's the read side, and the side with 1, that's the oh man, this is all messed up. That's the output. It goes out. The signal goes out. So because there's something in here, this comparator goes, oh, ding, it's on. So it's putting out a signal. But you see on top of here, there's redstone torches, and they're all lit. So, man, this is all tweaked out. Hold on, let me come back here. Save and quit. I'm using the BD pack because what is it? Pure BD Craft pack, because it's great. Global resources. I was using custom, but I'm gonna get rid of this one. Okay. La la la. La la la. La la la. Alright, there we go. They look better now, not so crazy. Alright, so the comparator reads the signal from here. It turns on and it's shooting a signal back. Because there's already a redstone lit torch on there, if you shoot a power into a lit redstone torch, the power will deactivate the torch. So because that torch is deactivated, it reactivates that torch. So it sends a signal across to this repeater, which picks it up, shoots it into this repeater, which picks it up, and then shoots it into this block. That block, because that block is powered, you can't see it, but that block is powered. That powered block then powers this lamp to turn it on. It's incredible. It's incredible. I love it. It's so beautiful. I love this design. Okay, at the same time as this lit comparator turns off or turns on this block, which turns off this lamp, this torch, which turns on this torch, which turns on this repeater and then that block to do that light. The same one that does that also turns on this repeater. This repeater shoots out a signal back here. But look, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. So it's putting a signal into nothing. They're all pointing into it, but only this one has a signal. But it can't go anywhere because there's no block there. But when you trip this wire, it's gonna send a signal up there. It's gonna send a signal up along this redstone line. turn on all of these pistons. So they all fire and come down. When they come down, these guys have no pulse anyways, so nothing's gonna happen. But this one's lit. This one's lit. So when this comes down, it completes a circuit, and this lit repeater fires its energy into this block, which then powers this piston. It's the only piston that gets power, and that piston pushes out the track to make the turn, which it just did. So that design is freely off, except for the tripwire. That's me. Okay, this design is by Skippy6. This is great. Okay, this design, the cart return, that's by me. Yay! So what this design does is, if you're a person, you're gonna trip the wire. When you trip the wire, you send a pulse into that redstone, which turns off this lamp. When that lamp is turned off, that turns off this power here. The power here is making this thing turn to go down into the cart return system. This cart return system is by K2. It's great. It's a great cart return system. Okay. But so if you're an empty cart, you're not gonna get like in the way. Like oh, I messed up. Look at, oh no, an empty cart. Oh no, just nothing. But if you're a person, you're gonna trip the wire. I don't want to go down this way. Cart. Okay, and then once you do that, then you get dropped down to your thing, and then you go on your way. This here is the reset line. When you would have a cart on that, it resets, sends a power signal to this torch, which changes it up this way. Good. At this point, it splits in two. This line resets the front panel, and this line powers this double piston extender system. When you power that, it pushes back the track into its normal position. When you return, now, okay, this return design is also K2 or K1, Ken from K1 Gaming. This is his design. When you return, you hit the track on this line and come up. And this is to me, this is the flux capacitor of train stations. To me, that's the flux capacitor of train stations, because it's like two lines merging, but on the y-axis. Like, that's amazing to merge two lines on the same y-axis. Like, that's great. So if you're on the top, you hit this and you bounce up, and if you're on the bottom, you go through this brick here isn't solid when you're in a cart, so you go through it like nothing, and you connect to this one and keep going. The momentum keeps you going forward. It's amazing. This is a Ken from K1 Gaming design. It's great. Yeah, and then you come into the cart return system. So this design for this train station is a combination of like 4 different people. Me, Skippy6, Freelyoff, and Ken from K1. It's like the Frankenstein of train stations. So yeah, it works, and it works great on Bedrock. Ooh. So yeah, it took me a little while to figure it out, but I mean, I got it working, and it's been a goal of mine for a while, so I'm glad I did it. Okay, let me go pick Central Memorial Station. Let me see, is Grandmother Station done on this world? This world is a backup world. So, I haven't renewed my subscription to my realm. So, I know I did a lot of work on the realms, but I also wrecked a lot of stuff. Like my, my iron farms. Oh no, I didn't fix the grandmother station is not done on this one. Oh no. Oh well. Or is it? I don't know. I can't tell. Maybe. No. Oh well, that's sad. I did a lot of work. Yeah, this is the old grandmother station. Okay, yeah, this is an old world. Okay. Oh, crap. What? Yeah, this is dangerous. I haven't done any work here. No train line, nothing. Ah. Okay, yeah, I haven't done anything here. So, really? Wow. Oh my god, that guy's so annoying. Look, the sun's rising, go away. Okay, let's hang out here for a little bit. So, okay, I was reminded the other day of Mr. Ramsey Orta. Mr. Ramsey Orta is the gentleman who filmed the oh no, I didn't do my sheep farm. Oh, I'm so sad. This is a really old world. I haven't done anything here. Man, that bums me out. That was a great sheep farm. But actually, no, it was a crap sheep farm. Now that I think about it, it was, the way I did it, it was a lot of work. And used too many sheep and that were arranged in an inefficient manner. Yeah, I know, it was a terrible sheep farm. It was the first one ever, like, my first design. Yeah, I can totally make a better one now. And look, there's no cow cooker anymore. Well, I can all fix that. It's not hard. Mr. Ramsey Orta filmed Eric Gardner's death by the hands of the NYPD. Like, yeah, he might have had some issues, but the only reason why the police noticed him was because he filmed the death of Eric Gardner. That's the only reason why the police noticed him. So then, since they noticed him, they decided to check him out, and they're like, oh, look what we can get you with. So yeah, that's not so cool. So dude's in prison, and the police hate him because he got them in trouble. He tried to get them in trouble. So they wanted revenge on him. And they messed with his food. They put rat poison in the food. And then tried to get him to eat it. And he wouldn't do it. But other guys did. And they got sick. And they didn't go to the hospital. The guards wouldn't take him to the hospital. But there's court documentations of it, documenting it. I guess somebody submitted something that there was reports of nausea and other symptoms associated with rat poisoning. The ingestion of rat poison. Ingestion. Ingestation. What? So that's scary. You got to understand. Oh man, I'm gonna pull it up. It's really important. You got to understand that the kind of place where oh man, where am I gonna find? Did I bookmark it? I should have bookmarked it. Sidney Poitier. I think that's how you say his name. Gives like an amazing discussion on it. I'm gonna pull it up because it's just too amazing. Where's that? Here, I saw it by Big Boss. Escape Matrix on Twitter. That guy is great. He's basically the spirit of Flint manifested. And he's trying to save the city of Flint, and he's like tireless. No, he's a human. He's only a man. So he's super tired. He gets and like exhausted because he's been doing it for like 5 years. There it is. All right, how do I save this? I want to save this. Copy video address. Download Twitter video. Enter tweet URL. There it is. Yep. Download. 0 bytes? What do you mean? Why is it 0 bytes? Here, okay. Copy here. How about the tweet address? There we go, yeah, that's it. Why are they different sizes? Okay, how do you do it? Oh, right click and save. Okay, save link as. Okay, I'm getting this, guys. Like, is it? Okay, this is really important. I'm sorry this is taking me a while. I need access to my desktop. Wait, no I don't. Here I can do like video. Hold on. Nothing will come up because I didn't pick anything yet. Let me stop this music. Okay. Desktop. Sorry guys, I know it's painful, but here it's gonna be worth it. The payoff will be worth it.
Only one reason. I didn't hear where I went. I might have gone to Hong Kong, I might have gone to Timbuktu, ended up in Paris on the streets of Paris with $40 in my pocket on the theory that nothing worse could happen to me there than it already happened to me here. You talk about making it as a writer by yourself. You have to be able then to turn up all the intent of which you live, because once you turn your back on this society, you may die. You may die. And it's very hard to sit at a typewriter and concentrate on that if you're afraid of the world around you. The years I lived in Paris did one thing for me. They released me from that particular social terror, which was not the paranoia of my own mind, but a real social danger visible in the faces of every cop, every boss, everybody. I don't know what most white people in this country feel, but I can only include what they feel from the state of their institutions. I don't know if white Christians hate Negroes or not, but I know that we have a Christian church which is white and a Christian church which is black. I know as Malcolm X once put it, it's the most segregated hour in American life is high noon on Sunday. That's a great deal for me about a Christian nation. It means I can't afford to trust most white Christians, and certainly cannot trust the Christian church. I don't know whether the labor unions and their bosses really hate me. That doesn't matter, but I know I'm not in their unions. I don't know if the real estate lobby is against black people, but I know the real estate lobbies keep me in the ghetto. I don't know if the Board of Education hates black people, but I know the textbooks they give my children to read and the schools that we have to go to. Now, this is the evidence. You want me to make an act of faith, risking myself, my life, my woman, my sisters, my children, on some idealism which you assure me exists in America, which I have never seen.
Right? I mean, how eloquent. That's exactly the way he put it. I, too, went to Europe and lived there for not so long. I don't know. I can appreciate his perspective of being more free. Because, okay, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. Because when I went to Japan, I lived in Japan for a while. I lived for 3 years. I taught English in Japan. And while I was there, like, I would, I don't know. I had friends. I mean, I hung out at, there was a bar called Rumors that's not there anymore. But it was like an English pub. So it was a foreigner bar. So English speakers went there. So that meant like other English teachers and like the Japanese people who could speak English would go there. And then so I had I made friends, and one friend was Kaori, and was that Kaori? I don't know who it was. I forget who it was. I can't remember. Somehow I forget how I ended up in Osaka at one of those theme restaurants. I don't know. I'm sure you know, because they have different versions of it. Basically, you show up, and you pay for like a room, and it's the whole restaurant is a theme, and like characters run around and do crazy things like murder mystery or ours was like an Arabian theme. So they had like an unlicensed genie guy from Aladdin, like run around and do like boo scary stuff on you, and sometimes they'd run in the room and run around, and I didn't know any of these people except maybe one person, but the huge group I didn't know anybody. And when I walked into the room, there was only like one or two other foreigners. It was me, and like when I walked in. Yeah, in the group there was already a foreigner, and it was a black guy, and the way he was acting was like a Japanese person. For real. And it was great, right? And then I come in and I don't know. I'm just there. But as I'm there, and the more I hang out, the more I notice he stops acting like a Japanese person, and he starts acting more like a stereotypical like American guy. I don't know. Not in a bad way. I'm not saying it's a bad way. But what it seems like is like he had to change the way he was in order to accommodate me or in response to me being there. He became different when I showed up, and it seemed like he was less free about it, less open. How about that? So I witnessed it firsthand. Let me turn on the music again. I witnessed it. Not this song. I witnessed it firsthand. That the very subtle feelings of being a foreigner and being free of the oppression of white supremacy, of American white supremacy. So I can appreciate Sidney, I forget his name. I don't know, but yeah, I appreciate his perspective. So this is Democracy Station, old school. Man, it's kind of ugly, I know. So this one uses FedEx's design. This is a FedEx design, and I like it. It's a little more open than from, well, I don't know, it's just different. It doesn't use any hoppers, so that's nice. Let me get rid of this. On that side. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't use hoppers. That's good. Glass. I can't see what it uses, but it's not hoppers. It's just repeaters and signals. So it's like, it's pretty good. It's like, it's cheap. It's great. It's an easy, cheap train station. FedEx. Like, great design. The only problem is that, yeah, you need a space in between. Can you fix that with repeaters, maybe? Well, yeah, you can. That's what he did, right? I should take a look at this. Anyways. So, okay, so we have the omnipresent experience of white terrorism, white supremacy terrorism in the United States. That is the default experience of African Americans in our nation. But that's not the only one, right? Because there's another form of hate that's rising. That's another, and it's ancient form of hate. It's ancient. And that is anti-Semitism. Like, hey, Jewish people are great. I think Jewish people are awesome. I really like Jewish people. I like Jewish culture. I like Jewish food. I'm all about Jewish people. They're great. They're awesome. And Jewish culture, they have a right to live and be free and practice their religion just as much as everybody else in America. Like, you but for some reason, and I don't know why, I don't know why, I can't figure it out. I asked them and they said a bunch of nonsense. Like, they're taking over the world, and then I'm like, no, no, they're not. I'll tell you who's taking over the world: rich people. So, for example, see, I don't have my giant thing here. Here, I can do it real quick. Save it quick. Watch this. Watch this. This is amazing. We're gonna switch versions of Minecraft. Okay, hold on, it's coming. Yeah, it's not Jewish people. I don't know. I don't understand why. Alright. So here we are in Java Minecraft. This is, I still think this is a superior version. I mean, it goes slower, but it just feels better to me. So, you gotta understand, here's the people who are taking over are billionaires. Billionaires are oligarchs. These oligarchs are from all different races, all different colors, all different religions, but the one thing they have in common is stupid amounts of wealth. So I was telling you that what blocks do I have? A little bit. Let me get some more. I was telling you that Jewish people, 99.999% of Jewish people are also in the same boat as everyone else. Jewish people are oppressed by the super wealthy just as much as everyone else is oppressed. So remember our quintiles, right? This is all of American society. All right, so you have 50 million people. One block is $10,000. 50 million people have a net worth of minus $6,000. That's them. 50 million people. Actually, no, I think it's like 75 million people. 74 million people have this much. 74 million people have this much. 74 million people have about this much. 74 million people have about this much, averaged out. And the top 74 million people have that much. But really, the top 0.00 whatever 1% have $1 million of net worth, which is one of these things. It's 100 of these blocks to the top. So to get 1 billion is you take 1 million here and you take 100 million. Oh wait, no. You need 1,000 million. So that's not what I meant. What I meant was that's 100 million. You go up here. This is $1 million. $1 million of net worth. This is what you're worth minus everything you owe. So after all of that, this is what you have left. A lot of people may have a house, but they're underwater. The house is worth more. The house is worth less than what they paid for it. Cars are almost by definition underwater investments. Like the moment you buy a car, you cannot sell it for any more than you bought it for. Once you drive it. So this is $1 million up here. Now, to that end is $100 million. So you're going this way to 100 million. That's $100 million. Okay. Now, that's 100 million. If this went all the way down, solid, it'd be $100 million. Now you add two of these, all the way to the end, $200 million. That's how much was paid by two people. Tom Steyer and Michael Bloomberg. They are running to be president, and they are billionaires. $1 billion is 10 of these guys. No, that's million. So yeah, that's right. Check it out. If this is $1 million and this is 100 million. No, 1,000 billion. 1,000 million is a billion. 1,000 hundred, not 1,000 million. What am I? Yeah. So if each one of these is 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 100 million. Yeah. So that's a billion. This is $1 billion. They spent 200 million on advertisements to say, "Hey guys, vote for me to be president." Nobody wants them to be president. They're just a bunch of rich people. Who cares? But they spent money, this much money, to buy advertisements on advertisements to get you to vote for them. Billionaires, 2 billionaires. With that much money, they could have paid to fix Flint, Michigan. Oh wow, it disappeared. With this much money, they could have fixed the water supply in Flint, Michigan, a whole city. They could have saved a whole city with the money spent on commercials. For commercials for a presidency, they're not going to win. They cannot win it. So they did it mainly to feel good about themselves. They spent $200 million to feel good about themselves. And when they could have spent $200 million to save a city. But why didn't they do it? Why didn't they do it? They're billionaires. It's more important for them to preserve a system that saves them, the billionaires, than it is to actually take care of people. They don't actually care about the country. Ow! 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 They don't actually care. They don't care. They don't care. So, who else is in that group? It's it's other rich people. I'm telling you, it's the rich guys. All you gotta do is, you don't have to hate them. All you gotta do is tax them. You just gotta tax them. And Michael Bloomberg and Tom Steyer are terrified of being taxed. That's why they're doing this. They don't want to be taxed. So what okay, so you're saying, big deal, Rob or Provocator, so you want to tax the billionaires. You say it's not the Jews, it's not the Jewish people, it's the billionaires. That's what you're saying. Yes, that's what I'm saying. then all right. How does that affect me? Big deal if these billionaires have all that money. How does that affect me? Well, let me tell you about my dad. I bet you he's not much different from anyone else. He is a boomer, but not really, because he was born in Mexico. And he didn't come to this country, to America, until he was 19 years old. He came to this country because, you have to understand, he grew up outside of Mexico City. Like, sure, his dad had a farm back in the day, but his farm had to be sold for some reason, and his dad then worked in a factory in Mexico, or actually not even a factory, in a restaurant. I think he worked as a restaurant. So he too worked in a restaurant, but they needed money. So my dad left Mexico to come to the United States. He overstayed his visa. Came in the United States and just stayed past his visa and got a job working over here. All right. He wasn't legal, so he couldn't, and he had he spoke English, but he wasn't legal. So he got like minimum wage and like no labor protections. Eventually though, like, yeah, he became legal. He got a green card, and then he got citizenship. But yeah. He came here and he works. He worked his butt off. He got a job in a factory and he worked his whole life. Well, until he retired, until he couldn't work anymore. His body pretty much quit on him. His shoulder, because his shoulder just broke. It just doesn't work anymore. Like, sure, they did surgery to reattach tendons and stuff, but it hurts real bad, and it's not as strong as it used to be. And so what does he do? He drinks he drinks. That's all the time, and the drinking is what's killing him. It's like it's terrible. So the doctor's like, look, guy, you gotta go to the hospital. But my dad didn't go to the hospital because he still owes $4,000 from the last time he went to the hospital. And because my dad didn't follow the directions of the doctor dropped him as a patient. Said, I don't want to see you anymore. If you're not going to listen to me, then I don't want to see you anymore. You don't listen to me. So now my dad doesn't have a doctor. So he has to get a doctor. But not all doctors take Medicare. So, like, and he doesn't have a lot of money. He's living off of Social Security. Like, his retirement, like, just evaporated. All the money he saved for retirement just evaporated. And now he needs a doctor. He needs to see a doctor because he probably needs to go to the hospital. But it's super hard for him because there's like a bunch of hoops you have to jump through in order to find the right kind of doctor that would take you, and then make sure they take the Medicare or whatever. Then you're gonna get your records transferred. That, like, all this stuff you got to do. There's all these hurdles you have to do. And if you started off as a farm kid in Mexico, like that's a long journey. That's tough. That's hard. And that's not the only administrative hurdle that's in the way for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people, they're just a bunch of forms and paperwork you have to fill out that make it ridiculous and make it so much harder to get help, to the point that you just don't want to deal with it. You don't do it. And so you just get worse. So my dad is probably not going to get a doctor. I mean, I can try to help him from here, but I don't know what I can do. And he's like, I just don't know what I can do. But because I don't know why it's so difficult. Like, why did we have our system set up where it's so hard to go get help? It's just dumb. So that's why I like Bernie Sanders' Medicare for everyone. That way, it's all like, all this headache, all this overhead is just gone. You don't even think about it. You just go. Like, you just go. Other countries, that's what they do. They don't, you know how we have this labyrinthine system where you have to go to your primary care physician, and then after you see them, then they give you a referral to a specialist who can then do more stuff. So it takes twice as long, and you have to pay twice as much. You have to pay to see your primary care physician, then you have to pay to see a specialist. You can't just go straight to the specialist. And you have to pay a lot of money to see both people. Like, it's a racket. It's just dumb. How'd we get here? The Trump administration passed a law that brought back pre-existing conditions. Like, that's so stupid. How did we get here? Again. Like, my God. Ah, it's insane. Oh my gosh. Something fell down. I'll fix that later. Yeah, okay. So it's clear. Okay, so people like Michael Bloomberg and other healthcare lobbyists, they do not like Medicare for everyone. But then again, they're people who have this much money. And so if they have that much money, then you got to know that the system is helping them. They're making money off that system. Why else would they fight against the implementation of Medicare for everyone? It's because they're making money in the current system. And Medicare for everyone makes it so they're not making money anymore. Oh, you kitty cat. So this is the dude guy, right? Who kills things. He is the slayer of tapestries. That's all he does is just rip apart tapestries all the time. He's like, what's behind them? He's the guy who broke my TV. That's why I have a flat screen TV that I don't use, because it's broken and I have to like transport it to the dump if I want to dispose of it. Can I repair it? Nah, it's not worth it. I'd rather just buy a new one. But yeah, I just didn't buy it at all, and I use my computer because I don't have any company that comes over. I have no need for a TV. Hold on, I need my blanket. Yeah. So I think one thing we have to absolutely take care of is healthcare. Because healthcare is wrecking us right now. It's wrecking my dad. It's wrecking my mom. Because for a little while, my mom was in between jobs. She couldn't work anymore, but she couldn't get disability. But she wasn't old enough for Medicare. So she was in she was in the hole and had to pay for private health insurance per month. It was like $1,000 a month. It was dumb. It was so stupid. It was so stupid. Like, all it does is suck money up from the regular person and then gives it to people like this, billionaires. And so, like, if you want to know who's on your team, find out which guys are helping billionaires and which people are helping the regular people. If billionaires are lined up against you, chances are you're on my team. So I see Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Both of those guys, the billionaires hate them. So that tells me they're probably on my team. If billionaires can't handle them, dude, it's down there. Okay. Alright, so remember, this is not even the full because it's back there. But this is like a mill. I'm trying to draw. This line here is $100 million. Each block is $10,000 of net wealth. To the top is 100 of these, which means 1 million. And 100 million, like one line of these, to the top is 1 million, and this line is 100 million. I think, yeah. It's just inconceivable about the amount of money that this is. It just hurts my head. And so I look at this and I go like, all right, if guys who have this much money are saying they don't like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders because they might lose money, I think then that adds some credibility to Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. That adds, I want people who have this much money to not like the policies passed by Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. That means they're losing money and the rest of us are getting money. Not getting money, but we get things like healthcare. Because it's dumb. It's so dumb how we treat our elderly. Because really that's a way that, I mean, like, we're forcing our elderly people to live in poverty for healthcare. God, it's so dumb. Alright, I'm gonna switch gears. Khashoggi. Jamal Khashoggi. He was murdered on the orders of Mohammed bin Salman. Jamal Khashoggi was a Saudi Arabian guy, Arab, who left. Well, he was a journalist, and he was telling the truth about the bad stuff going on inside of Saudi Arabia that foreigners don't normally get to see, because we're on the outside. And the royalty of Saudi Arabia wants to project the image of wealth and everything's all good. But Jamal Khashoggi knows, but he's seen with his own eyes, that there's brutality and abuses of human rights and horrible displays of patriarchy going on, where people, the common people are not free. they're oppressed by the ruling class. And since he writes about this and publishes it and makes it known, the royalty hate him. So, do I have that? Can I pull him up real quick? Sure, I can. So, just so you know who I'm talking about. All right. So that's what this is a piece of propaganda that these guys put out a little while ago. And then I did some enhancement for you to understand what's going on. So the original, and here's some enhancement. So this guy right here, is called Mohammed bin Salman. And I think this is the king, Saudi king. Mohammed bin Salman ordered the murder of Jamal Khashoggi because Jamal Khashoggi was talking about the bad conditions inside of Saudi Arabia. So Jamal Khashoggi, he fled, but he was tricked but he was found by the regime because of information given to him by Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner had access to this information because he had top secret access. But even though he was denied multiple times to have this, his top secret access was pushed through by Donald Trump. Donald Trump overrode national security interests to provide his son-in-law with top secret access. His son-in-law used that top secret access to give information to the Saudi regime. The Saudi regime used that top secret information from America, that given to him by Jared Kushner, to murder Jamal Khashoggi. So recently, Jamal Khashoggi, or Mohammed bin Salman, staged infringement. I'm gonna put that little one up. Recently, Jamal Khashoggi had a show trial where he just paraded around a bunch of low-level guys and sentenced them to death for the murder of this guy. But you have to understand, they weren't the ones responsible. The one responsible was this guy right here. This guy right here. Is it there? Yeah. No. Well, you can't see it, but yeah. It's that guy. He's the one responsible. But he tried to sacrifice a bunch of other guys in order to wash his hands of it. But he can't do it. It's not right. It's not real. So this is just more evidence that shows that our president Donald Trump is a traitor. He betrays American ideals. He betrays American ideals and betrays the sacrifice, dishonors the sacrifices of our people for his own personal gain. Okay, what was the other thing I wanted to look at? Yeah, get rid of that one. Now, I know a lot of people are going like, "Oh, Pogokiro, you're always talking about this white supremacy stuff." Like, but do you understand how prevalent it is? You got to understand, things are not right. Let me show you what this is about. White supremacy is real. We see it manifested all throughout society, and it's becoming more open because Donald Trump promotes it. Donald Trump is a white supremacist. He's a white supremacy government. Because of this, white supremacists feel emboldened and they feel more at ease to display symbols of white supremacy. They want to manifest this white supremacy into the world, into the real world. So they let it flow through them, through their bodies. The spirit of fascism flows through their body. Okay, so let me zoom in here. This guy right here, this guy who graduated from some deal, then if you look, he did this on TV. This guy did this symbol on TV. That's the white supremacy symbol. A symbol is for white supremacy. Alright, and then this kid right here also reached down to do the symbol for white supremacy. Were these kids disciplined? Were they removed? You know, they don't represent American values. That's not American. White supremacy is not American. And yet they're given a position of honor. Well, I wouldn't know about honor, but I mean a position in our military. Is this prevalent throughout the military? Do they do that a lot? What's going on here, guys? So yeah. Gotta know this okay. I probably said it before, I'll say it again. White supremacy is just a symbol of fascism. Fascism is the thing that is fascism is the idea. It's the form. Yeah. It's the points of light shining in the darkness of the abyss, of the void, of the astral plane. You can't. That's the most general. As it comes closer to our world, it becomes, and to our place, it becomes more defined, and more specific. So when fascism came into Nazi Germany, it looked like Nazi. When it came into India, it looks like Modi, or that guy. It looks like Hindi nationalism. When it came into Japan, it looked like the Japanese nationalism. When it came into Brazil, it looked like Brazilian nationalism. Nationalism. When it came into England, it looks like Tories. So fascism is gonna look different depending on where you are, and so it can be defined even more, right? I mean, all these things I mentioned have in them, they share the trait of patriarchy. That because other races are inferior, quote quote, we can also apply this to women, that they're inferior to sexes. So they just put their hierarchy everywhere and put themselves at top. So yeah, fascism is the enemy, but it looks different everywhere you go. And the key is that you cannot attack fascism directly because it's an idea. You can't. There's nothing to punch. There's nothing there. Yeah, there's nothing to punch, there's nothing there, so you can't actually hit fascism. You can only attack the manifestations of fascism. And even being violent about it, I don't know. Yeah, even if you kill a fascist, you don't kill fascism, you just destroy that avatar.
Cabinet makers make furniture and boxes. Paper hangers, tailors make men's suits, and dressmakers make women's clothes. There are many other tradesmen who help us.
Yeah, Bloomberg. So he owns a newspaper called Bloomberg. And he ordered his newspaper not to write any bad stories about him, even though he's running for president. And he directed his newspaper to write bad stories about Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Hey, if Bloomberg doesn't like you, I think your policies are great. If the oligarchs don't like you, don't like your policies, that speaks pretty good of your policies. I was thinking the other day, what separates humans and animals, and and the other life forms, and I was thinking about it. The real thing about it is that humans are able to use fire. No other animal is able to use fire. So what's the big deal about using fire? Fire is more than just burning stuff. Fire is the ability to release the energy inside of things, and then take that energy that's released and use it for your own purposes. Every other animal, no other animal has access to fire. No other animal can take the energy out of stuff and use it for its own good. Nothing else can do that. So what that means is the only energy they get is from the calorie. Like, the closest they can do is like maybe they can, or like the sun. They can get thermal radiation from the sun. So they can get warmed by the sun, or they can eat another animal or a bunch of plants in order for their body to convert it to a calorie, and then they can burn that. That's it. Only humans are able to take things and burn them for their energy, and then take the burning of their energy and turn it into other energy, like electricity. Because then, yeah, look at this whole thing's electricity. That's why all the plants are dying off right now. Not the plants. That's why we have those mass extinctions. It's because, like, already, since animals don't have access to other forms of energy, like they're on the edge as it is. Like, living in the state of nature is really hard. Now that we've introduced climate change, that creates a lot of variation in the environment, in the temperature, in the weather. And because of these great variations, in order to endure these great variations of weather, it takes increased energy. You need more energy to overcome this. Now, what that means for humans is that we just burn more stuff. But if you're a plant or animal, you can't just burn like more stuff. And you can't just eat more things. I mean, you could, I guess, if you had access to it. But everything else is thinking, oh, I just need to eat more stuff. So, and if you're a life organism that depends on weather being a certain way, and that weather isn't that way anymore, you're not going to be there anymore. And if you're not there anymore, animals can't eat you. So, like, the very bottom of the, oh my God. So the effects of climate change are going to be felt the most at the bottom. It's never going to affect the rich people until the very end. I mean, it affects them, but they're going to be at most inconvenienced by it. Like, I don't know. They'll just keep insulating themselves in all that money over there. But if you're in nature, you have no energy, like, you're barely making it as it is. That's why animals are dying in mass. And then you move up that ladder a little bit, and then you have the poor humans. Poor humans don't necessarily have access to all this energy. I took a backpacking trip, a jungle trek in Thailand. I was in Chiang Mai, and at the hostel, the guest house I was staying at, they offered like a jungle trek, go see a waterfall, visit hill tribes. And I'm like, sure, okay. So, yeah, we took an hour trip in a truck up into the mountains of Thailand and dropped off at the first village. And they were rich because they had power lines and they had electricity. All the other villages that we were going to didn't have electricity wired to them. So yeah, and they lived in huts, basically. They lived in huts. No insulation. They weren't on the ground. They were raised up. But yeah, no insulation. No, like the walls were basically leaves, woven leaves were the walls. Yeah, and then we trekked deep into the mountain. Well, deep into the mountains to the next village. And yeah, they had no electricity. And we slept, on the floor of a hut. made of paper. It was cold. But for them, that was like all the time. So poor humans don't have access to electricity. They don't have the ability to easily adapt to changes in the weather like the first world nations do. And even when you're now, okay, so now you're talking, now you're in first world nations. Now I look at the poor people of first world nations. If you're poor, you can't maybe necessarily pay for heat. So, so you stay really, really bundled up at home. Maybe you need to have heat, even though you can't afford it. So you burn kerosene heaters or something. But then the problem with that is that you have fumes, the CO2 fumes, and people have died from that kind of stuff. When I was in Japan, the apartments don't have central heating. So you either use an electric heater, which is expensive because electricity is expensive, or you burn kerosene. I had a kerosene heater, but man, those fumes are awful. Oh my god, it was awful. And you have to vent. You have to vent your air out because that's burning CO2. So you're like introducing CO2 into your closed, tiny room to stay warm. Man, oh my god. So climate change is happening, and it's going to affect the poorest people first. It always affects the bottom first and moves up. And the guys at top up here, they don't want things to change. But they're obviously wrong. Obviously. All the evidence points to how wrong they are. Okay. I can never say his name. Duterte, the leader of the dictator in the Philippines. So the Philippines is a poor country. The Philippines was invaded by like 3 different nations, colonized by 3 different nations. First, they're colonized by the Japanese, or maybe no, I don't know, maybe the Japanese first. The Chinese, the Japanese, the Spanish, the Americans, poor Philippines. They're just getting wrecked. And right now, their leader is a guy named Duerte or something. Duerte. But he's a bad guy. He's basically a dictator. He's a dictator, and he ordered his police people to just murder random people, and then call it a drug crime. And it's awful. A bunch of people, kids, everyone's dying. Random people. We don't know if they're innocent or guilty or anything, because they're dead. They just get killed all the time, over and over again. And so one person in the government spoke up. Senator Leila de Lima. Leila de Lima was saying, hey guy, like, what are you doing with all these murders? Like, you're unjustly using the power of the state to murder people, take away people's lives. What, you can't be doing this. We need accountability. And so what does Duerte do? He imprisons her. He puts her in prison. He locks her up for speaking out against him. So yeah, the Philippines is in a bad situation. It's in a bad place. I don't know what to do about that. I have no idea, because all I see is that there's this global lurch to fascism. Like, I don't know, is England thinking that it's going to detach from Europe and rejoin its old empire? Is that what it's thinking? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's thinking that. I think a lot of people are... I don't know. I don't know what's going on in England. I don't know. You know, it's a new year. It feels like the old order is crumbling and that we're gonna walk into like a brand new order this next decade. It's kind of nuts. Maybe, and like, I'm hoping it'll be a better decade of advancement. I think once the United States defeats this iteration of white supremacy, it'll be much stronger for it. Because it's oppressed. The United States is oppressing like half its population. So of course you're not going to get the most productivity, the most creativity out of a nation when you're oppressing half your people. When you've impoverished half your population, of course you're not going to be the best you can be. You're going to be a lot less than what you can be. But again, I think this is just the reaction of the right wing. This is their last chance. After this, they won't be able to hold on to power at the federal level. There's not enough racists to implement white supremacy. We have to defend democracy and help our other friendly democracies also defend their democracies. We have to remember who we are. We're like, don't give in to cynicism that says, oh, it doesn't matter, both sides are the same, rah, rah, rah. That's cynicism. That's like, okay, I understand. Sidney Poitier is saying that, look, you talk this talk about ideals and whatnot, but as a black guy, I don't see it. I see just the opposite. I understand. Yes, I'm with you. I see the injustices that are perpetuated upon minority cultures, but that's what I'm saying. The white supremacists are afraid because they're on the cusp of losing power. Once we gain control of the state, then these reforms can be made so that minority populations don't live in a state of terror, and that they can be free to express themselves and be who they really are. We're on the cusp. We're almost there. We just gotta hold on. This is their last stand. Alright. Well, this was a step standing between two different worlds. That's kind of neat. Alright. Alright, America. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will catch you on the next time. Alright. Peace out. Happy New Year. Happy New Decade. Oh, yeah. Alright. Peace out.